In this episode of Everything Everett, the inaugural Everett Essentials class of 2017 successfully finished the program. And it's the season of giving. How can we give responsibly? All this and more in Everything Everett. Everett Essentials is the city's Civic Academy course. The program is an opportunity for community members to learn how our city functions and how to become further involved in local government. It is designed to offer students a behind-the-scenes look at city services and programs.
So it's all good, and it motivates you because you know more, so you want to participate more after that, and you want to do more for the city. Especially you live in the city. I've been living in the city for 10 years, so I really want to be part of it.
I just moved back to Everett after 8 years of living on the East Coast, so I was born and raised here, but kind of wanted to get back into my community and learn what Everett was about from the inside out instead of just being a resident, but kind of learn how it's run.
So I moved to Everett in November of 2016. I'm a relatively newcomer to the city and bought a house here looking to get invested in the city and really get settled and involved. So I heard about Everett Essentials and I thought that would be a really great opportunity to kind of get more oriented to my community, learn about what some of the needs are, try to figure out ways to plug in with some of the skills that I have, hopefully get involved in boards or commissions, community groups.
I just think it's great that the city's opening up to this and allowing people to learn about what to do and how we can give back. I think it's kind of been a secret to most people that we want to, but we just don't know how. And so having this as a brand new kind of thing, I hope that it continues so that others can do it too.
You don't know what you see until you see it. So once you start to see the city more often, the inner workings, or just visiting the city in different pieces of the city, you start to see, oh, that's a place I've never been. I didn't know we had that here. Like we've learned the senior center the other day. The place is pretty large, they got a lot going on. Very surprised.
It's pretty interesting, all the things we're learning. I was looking on about all the different ways you can volunteer, and so I was just kind of figured if this would give me a better understanding of things and where I might fit better if I were to volunteer to do different things in the city.
It's so helpful. The speakers who make it interesting, and like the Forest Park face-off, super interesting, a really engaging way. Like I just love it. It's so great.
I really like the senior center. Obviously that's closer to my heart than some. But I enjoyed it, and I did not realize they had all the resources available and all the activities. And it looks like they probably could use some help. So they have an advisory board position available.
I'm definitely learning a lot as far as what it takes to run a city and all the people that are involved. So far, yeah, I've seen a lot deeper down the rabbit hole of what's going on.
Basically, you being an insider of the city right now, you know how budget being set, how financing being funded, how decisions being made. So it's really a big effort they do when they do those stuff. We never thought about that. We learned about the police, we learned about the fire department, we learned about the animal shelter. So lots of sides of the city we have not been exposed to before, and now we know a little bit much about them.
There's a few things I'd like to follow up on that connections that I've made during the course. One example is the police department that we toured. I got in touch with one of the officers about providing a training there for how to interact with deaf and hard of hearing suspects, or like if they pull over a deaf person, how to work with them and communicate with them. So that's kind of something I'm pursuing, and kind of each place I'm kind of looking for opportunities on how to make like a follow-up project.
I'll probably get more involved, something like the planning portion, but I'm really interested in the CERT program, which is the Community Emergency Response Team. So I didn't know we had that. Probably get involved in that in the next class after Everett Essentials ends.
I know for sure I want to be a puppy petter. I really like puppies at the shelter, so that was really nice.
But I didn't know a lot about our wastewater treatment center and all that, and that was actually really interesting. And so I was being very cognizant the other day to make sure that all the grease went into the garbage. and none went down the drain.
Me personally, I would try to be involved more with the city. My initial thoughts, helping the community, helping the people that I live with and around. Now I was thinking of more into going in one of the committees on the cities, volunteering my time, just try to help with the more inputs, giving them insights from different perspectives.
This program, in learning about the different aspects of the city, Everett is so much more than I could have even imagined. So when I was saying, I have pride now, so much more pride in my city, it's because the more I learn about it, the more I realize what an amazing place it is.
I really feel like I have a basic level of knowledge now of how cities work, how they function.
And so I would say that, just try to focus on ways that you can, get in contact with people that run programs like these, so you can go out and actually get your hands dirty and be a significant help to the city.
I've been really impressed by everybody that I've met from the different departments, really high quality folks, a lot of exciting projects coming up for the city. I feel more excited than ever to live here and work here.
And I feel like the Everett Essentials is such an amazing program and a great stepping stone to just figuring out all the different aspects of our city that we may not experience on a daily basis unless, we are actually already involved. So this is a great way to start for me.
I'm using this to kind of see where I would really like to volunteer. And so I've seen some really too many options.
So far, I found some things that interest me, and I hope that one of these things will fit and I can help make a difference, because I like our city.
I want you guys to be able to keep doing this. This is so important in community building and just getting people engaged in the community. I cannot believe how many more programs we have that I didn't even know about. So many parks that we have I didn't even know about. And I can't wait for next summer. I am very excited to pass along this information, and I will continue to let people know how amazing this was so that we can keep it going.
It's opened up my eyes to so many different things, and meeting people and getting to know who to contact for these sort of things. There's a lot of information out there, and we get a lot of information which we will be absorbing for quite some time with all the handouts. Thank goodness we can go back to them.
And even if you think you know certain things, or you know how things are, or you just really don't know how hard everyone in Everett, everyone that works for the city, is really working to make this a great place. I would recommend anyone take the Everett Essentials course that possibly could.
I think we all don't want to pay taxes and on, but when you actually get to kind of peek behind the curtain and see what all the money is spent on and how, it's amazing.
I totally think that anybody who has any interest needs to take this course and find out what they can do, because you will find something that you want to do after you've taken this course.
Well, it's been a great experience so far. I'm surprised every week.
Compassionate donations of food and clothing often end up discarded when they are not well matched with recipients. City workers spend many hours cleaning wasted donations up from public spaces. By giving responsibly, you can ensure that your donation will be directed to the places they're most needed.
Giving responsibly is an idea focused on trying to guide people to find organizations to work with to do charitable donations, be it goods or volunteer hours, as opposed to them just going out and kind of wanting to do it themselves. Because these organizations typically have worked through how not to be toxic charities and have created systems that they then use to form and educate people to make them more responsible in terms of how they engage communities and how they work to make a better community.
That being mindful of where that's going to make sure that it's making the best possible effect is the most important piece. So definitely knowing where you are giving and how that's going to be beneficial for the person.
If you just hand someone a bunch of something, you could potentially make them vulnerable or a target for somebody else who may want it from them.
Giving responsibly, this is really important when there's a lot of what I call toxic charity existent. Charity that doesn't really help, it creates dependency and creates a sense of entitlement.
I think it tends to keep it cleaner and tidier when things are going through an organization, a building, and there's not a lot of excess being thrown out there.
I've seen people leave boxes of clothing. I've seen people drop off food that then doesn't get consumed and then draws rats and makes it even more dangerous for the people who are living on the streets there.
Donating to a group of individuals without the organization, and what happens is people will maybe sell those things for money or maybe trade for drugs or some other unintended consequence that we aren't hoping for. What we would hope is that it would go somewhere, then be handed out, and people would only get as much as they need for that time. They can go back for more.
Part of being in the homeless population is that mobility. Someone can only carry so much, and so they're going to leave stuff behind because they have no other option. If they can come into a building and get something, they have other options.
It's unintended consequences. They think they're doing something good, but sometimes it can actually be something that's not good. And it's learning how to do the good.
It's really important to work as a team, collectively as a community, to identify where this need is and how it can be done appropriately so that all the organizations are able to help in the most effective way.
When an organization receives $1 versus $1 being handed to somebody who's on the streets, that dollar is going to be thoughtfully discerned as to what is it that someone needs, and then those needs will be met, versus the dollar being handed to someone who's on the streets who might decide, I want to use that dollar for something that may not be in my best interest.
When people are out there kind of doing their own thing, it really detracts away from that idea of community. I believe when people come together as a show of force, as a team in one particular area, that lends itself more to that idea of community. And I think that's really what we're talking about, is the betterment of this community.
All cats and dogs 6 months of age or older living within the city of Everett are required by law to be licensed. Pet licenses identify animals should they become lost, and the revenue helps support the animal shelter and reuniting animals with their families. And now, Everett Animal Shelter made it easier for residents to purchase and renew their pets' licenses. Simply download and print a form from our website. Fill out completely and mail the form with your payment. You can still visit the animal shelter to do your purchasing and renewals in person. For more info, please contact the Everett Animal Shelter.